Speaking of corona, look what CNN's telling us. That, they just said Moderna
has a 94% effective vaccine.
Yeah, correct.
Don't you love, but we're going to talk about COVID a little bit here, how the media said that Rand Paul is anti-science because he said that you're immune to COVID if you catch it. And he's right, they're wrong. But this is funny. Don't you love how Cuomo said, I wouldn't trust a vaccine from this administration? And here's the thing, I don't know if there was a reason that Donald Trump was talking about distributing the vaccine, that it wouldn't go to New York State. Like, I don't know if there was a conversation with Cuomo, I wouldn't trust it, or he just said it publicly just to watch his eyes. Yeah. Hey, we're going to give it to the whole country except New York. Talk to Cuomo about that. He said, what?
And then the other speakers also acknowledged it. That's what I love. They're like, accept that, Governor.
Except that guy. Yeah. Maybe he said he didn't want it.
We're in agreement. We all agree. Yeah. Him and Fredo,
well, Fredo, maybe he'll be one of the other cases of people who catch COVID twice. So this is the story now that's been making the rounds. It was happening, I think, Saturday, right? As soon as we were not broadcasting. Yeah. Rand Paul made the suggestion that you are immune to COVID if you have already had it. And of course, the left lost their minds. Let's look at, this is one thing they say, you need to follow the science. So I am going to give you irrefutable science and numbers that I think you will deem to be as definitive as science gets. And I don't mean like definitive like there are 57 genders on a Facebook. I mean like actual science with numbers and percentages. But here's the comment that Rand Paul made first.
But the other thing is we have 11 million people in our country who have already had COVID. We should tell them to celebrate. We should tell them to throw away their masks, go to restaurants, live again, because these people are now immune. But Dr. Fauci doesn't want to admit to any of that. Dr. Fauci's like, oh, woe is me, until the election occurs, and now maybe he'll be changing his attitude.
I just love picturing Fauci somewhere in the White House going, hey! Hey, whoa, it's me. I don't sound like that.
He says, whoa.
I'm like, yeah, you do. He's like, do I sound like that? I don't sound like that. Oh, do I sound like that?
Are you intentionally changing your voice not to sound like that?
Yeah. Am I seriously a downer, guys?
Wait, you guys don't like me? What's going on?
It's almost like people aren't happy to see me. Weird. I don't know. I usually bring Zima.
I share.
I got that back.
I got Seagram's wine coolers. You ladies want some?
No.
I've been loving them ever since that Bruce Willis commercial. So that's what Rand Paul said, and then he was absolutely excoriated by the left for not following the science. Here you go. They just lit him ablaze.
And I think that Dr. Paul needs to be held to a higher standard. He is a physician. He is a medical doctor.
True.
He knows better than that. And to pander to this kind of nonsensical unreality that some people live in really just baffles the mind.
The only hint of Trumpism on the Republican side of the committee today came from Rand Paul, who tried to suggest that it is a fully scientifically proven fact that if you survive a coronavirus infection, you are absolutely immune to coronavirus.
I don't know why he would say that. For your viewers out there, to correct misinformation, there is no evidence that if you've been infected with COVID-19 that you're immune from reinfection for any period of time.
Well, you know what? Thank you. I will correct misinformation. So there are I know some of you guys may know because you read the show map, but bear with me, some of you have not. So there are, at the time of this comment from Rand Paul, 52 million, about 250,000 cases of COVID. Okay?
A lot.
Yeah. 53,250,000, okay? Now let me ask this. How many would you guess? So out of those, because they're saying there is no science, this has been going on since January. Yeah, sure. Some people have said since before January, right? How many would you guess have been reinfected with COVID? So we have a sample of 53 million. Let's round it, just call it 53 million. So for us to definitively be able to say that at least for a year or so, you cannot recontract COVID, you would think that it would have to be a very small number of people who've contracted. They're saying you cannot make that claim. We need to fact check that misinformation. How many people who have caught COVID of the 53 million cases do you think have recontracted COVID?
Like half of them.
3. But I would think it would.
You're a comedian. You should know to build.
You got to
I'm sorry. Off at the pass. What's the 3? 4. You're right. 4.
Are you really close?
4. You were exactly. You thought that was going to be out of left field, like just so absurd. No, it's actually 4 people.
Is it really?
4 people globally.
Yeah, I don't look things up.
Does this guy look like he researched?
Everyone I asked, they'd be like, well, maybe if there are a few thousand or a few hundred,
tens of thousands.
At that point, you would say tens of thousands.
Out of 52 million, yeah.
It's
4 on Saturday.
He's still
Not
on
like
4.
that.
4.
So
Wait, let's go back.
not like 4 million.
No. 4
Total. Period.
Quattro.
Here, you know what? This is what it is. So start to say, slowly say for me, Dave Landau, 4 million.
4 million.
No. That's it.
Just four.
Just 4.
I'm sorry, 4?
Say 4 million.
4 people out of
But leave off
53 million
Wow.
recontracted COVID.
And I hear they lied about it the first time.
Not so much them. It was the hospital. I have
That's how you
COVID.
explain.
No, I have mono. I'm gonna put COVID to be safe. More money, please. More money, please. So, by the way, in the first one, this is the one where people got really scared because there was one guy. It was widely publicized from Hong Kong. Sorry, half Asian Bill. Sorry, everyone.
He should be sorry.
Everyone publicized it saying, "Can we re-get COVID?" So there are 4 total, but the first case was a guy from Hong Kong. And here's the thing: he's a special case because his immune response was atypical. This is a quote: "When doctors tested his blood to look for antibodies to the virus, they didn't find any." After the first time he had COVID, that could mean he either had a weak immune response to the virus the first time around, or that the antibodies he made during his first infection diminished over time. But during his second infection, he quickly developed, here's what's important. This is one of the guys who recontracted COVID, and by the way, he may not have had COVID if you look at this, or at least he didn't have an immune response because he didn't have antibodies.
Right.
But that would make you think dodged a bullet the first time.
Right.
You get the second time, it's like a game of Russian roulette with 5 rounds in the chamber.
Right, yeah.
And
Okay,
the other 3 are Freddie Mercury.
During his second infection, he quickly developed more antibodies, suggesting that the second infection acted a little bit like a booster to fire up his immune system. That's probably the reason he didn't have any symptoms the second time, too.
Wow.
WebM-fucking-D.
So a guy who has no immune system beat the virus twice?
With no symptoms. What?
Well, let's end Thanksgiving. Somebody get...
I've had a sore throat for 3
more
weeks
family.
because Tim from HR put a guillotine choke on me improperly. I wish I could be this Hong Kong gentleman.
Yeah, it was properly.
I have a COVID. How do you know? Test to say so. Oh, do you feel? Feel fine.
Yeah, but by the way, if you're under 50 years old, your body actually has a higher effective rate of curing that than the vaccine. It's like 99.98.
Cool.
Well, speaking of numbers,
something
Especially this body.
so I don't like when you rub that robe. Don't let that robe touch the ground. So
You asked me to.
let's do the numbers
Math or
here
no math?
as a percentage. And I don't do math very well. And my half Asian lawyer, Bill Richmond, it's the luck of the draw. Not a math Asian.
No.
That means less than point, and I'll count. So you see, 0.000000607% of people who got COVID ever recontracted. That's 0.0000007% of people who contracted COVID ever actually recontracted the disease. So the left wants you to think that you need to shut down the entire economy and that it's misinformation, because that's what Rand Paul was arguing.
That's
Saying,
exactly what
we have people out there who are immune. They should be going out living their lives so that at this point, hopefully, we can develop herd immunity, which also the left said, is not really a thing. But now they're talking about only giving us enough vaccines to develop herd immunity. The context of Rand Paul was saying, you are immune, throw away your mask, go out and let's restart society so that we don't destroy the economy for generations to come. The left is saying, no, we gotta shut everything down because if you have had the virus, it's anti-scientific to tell people they can't get it because really they're only 99.9999993% likely to not catch it again, and the cases where people they didn't have symptoms a second time. What, you just think people should be willy-nilly walking around with a 99.9999993 survival rate going to gas stations without masks? What are you out of your tree, sir?
You don't care about
It's
Grandpa.
not even the survival, it's the reinfection rate.
The
The survival
reinfection
rate's 100% for those guys. I think all 4 of them will still walking around. Oh my goodness, that is insane.
Well, I think
No more
he's
Thanksgiving,
certainly
I say.
pandering.
I can't.
Anti-science physician.
You can't. Every person that I talk to, no matter what their politics are, says there's no question that the messaging from the Democrats and the progressive left about what the science is continues to change. Like, remember 37 years ago in March when we were told don't wear masks,
Right.
And we were saying, 2 weeks to
15 days
to flatten the curve, 50 days to flatten the curve.
1-5.
Then it was, don't worry, it's going to be fine. We're going to get a vaccine. Now it's according to Cuomo, don't trust the vaccine.
Right.
Everything's going to be bad. Now we got to shut everything down again. No, but now we got to wear masks. But then, because the science proves that 6 feet is going to make a difference. It absolutely. Look at the standard that doctor used. He was like, 100% certain that you absolutely can't get it ever again.
Right.
Is that the standard for masks?
Right.
Is that the standard for 6
No.
feet?
And by the way, these same people say there's no science that tells us that hormone replacement therapy for young boys has any deleterious effects. Really? Really? Because there's actually a significantly increased likelihood of cancer, specifically prostate cancer, specifically testicular cancer, if men have high estrogen levels. Let's be clear. There's far more science on pumping men, particularly prepubescent boys, full of estrogen being cancerous than there is of your chance of recontracting COVID. If we're going to talk about science that's settled, you say, well, the science is out. And listen, we don't know about recontract. No, you have to. It's not about. Here's the thing with science. It's just like the law. It's not. Did they use a scientific method? Is the scientific standard applied equally?
Right.
And when people say, oh, well, let's use a good example, the FDA. The FDA, where they talk about cigars. So I occasionally enjoy a pipe or a cigar, right? And they lumped, when they did a study with the FDA, they lumped everyone in and said, this is your increased likelihood of lung cancer and esophageal cancer, right? Then when they separated pipe smokers, and this is an actual statement you can bring up from the FDA, there was someone who conducted a study when they separated people who smoked 2 cigars per day or less, and I think they had like 4 pipe bowls a day for less, which would be really high for a cigar smoker, right? We occasionally have a cigar. They actually found out that the statistical chance of any increased mortality was 0%, and the statistical chance of increased mouth or esophageal cancer was about 4%, less than non-coffee drinkers to coffee drinkers.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
And
cancer risk's nearly nil, but the FDA still comes out and goes, well, hold on, the science isn't out. If there's a 4% here, there's a 0.0000007% chance. How is the science out on one and not the other?
Right. And that's what the doctor could have easily said. He could have said, look, I disagree because we don't know if definitively yet. There is very little evidence that anybody is going to get this again and have severe symptoms. We've only had 4 cases. He could have said all that. If he was a doctor...
If he says we've only had 4 cases, he's out of a job as a professional commentator
I agree.
on CNN.
I agree.
I know.
His politics were getting in the way of him being an actual doctor, a physician, right? Yeah. Instead of saying, this is what's going on, you can probably go out and be...
And let's not ignore the brotherhood there that, Sanjay Gupta went in and had his cousins there getting... Yeah. What are you about to say there, Dave Landau?
I have no idea.
Oh, really?
I was going to say that vaping makes 99.0007% chance of looking gay.
But we were past it already.
Yeah,
but it's right there. When it comes as a birth control device, I mean, the Juul is truly
no, not the Juul. It's the vape mods. I had a guy, Skylar Turton uses it, but it was inspired by. I was in a car, and this guy next to me had Lil Wayne, who I like, of course, because he votes the right way. And he was next to me with a vape mod, and it was like purple, and he had the wheels in his car that didn't do the jumping. But they just elevated. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't do the full jump.
A little bit of
hydraulics. And he puts it up on his lips. So this is, he goes, and he looks at me.
Oh boy.
He looks at me, he puts up his lips and goes, and blows it out. And I said, you look like you're blowing Optimus Prime. Like it was a purple silver device.
It looks like you're going down on short circuit. And
we're having a threequel?
Yeah. Look, if I caught my kid with one, I would go, listen, here's Marlboro Reds and a cowboy hat. Man.
Or I know where there's a guy who will have sex with you. Just don't vape.
Look,
sorry, you can have sex with the guy when you're of age. The point is less gay.
That's made it
and by the way,
and don't worry,
I say this is someone
who you won't get twice. That's far, guys.
You just have to treat it early, otherwise you end up like Al Capone.
And just a guy in the white robe. It's fine.
Is it okay to say because I'm in a white robe?
Yeah.
No.
I think it makes it definitively less okay for me to say anything in a white robe. And I say this as someone who occasionally uses Johnny Boy's vape. I'm not going to lie. And we have the CBD in there, which
why do you got to blame it on him? You just threw him under the bus.
Because I feel like it. So listen, you guys let me. Again, the question of the day is Dominion voting. If you know that your state is using, what your voting process was like, what confidence you have in it, and if you have followed up on it. That's the question of the day. Right now, we are going to go exclusively to Mug Club for people who are not yet members. Crowder Election Stream is the promo code. You get $30 off until this election is actually called. And it's louderwithcrowder.com/Mug Club. We're about to play Stephen Knows Sports and take your chat. YouTube, thank you very much. I messed up. Piss off, YouTube.